introduce Russ, or do you want me to do it?
I think you should. That'd be fantastic.
No, the reason I brought it, I could do it, but I'm thinking you should do it because you haven't really contributed much to the setup of.
I haven't been a contributor.
I mean, you're just like showing up and talking and pretending you're smart while we've got a whole team here that's doing it. So I'm thinking,
exactly,
do something. I mean, but look, if that's a lesson, Dean's pretty much figured out the E.L.F-iest position here, which is easy, lucrative, and fun. And so let me introduce Russ. Let's just get right into it. And we're going to, Gina, is there anything I should announce beforehand, or is there something you want to announce? Unless you want to do it. You tell me.
I'm super excited. I want to hear you introduce him. And this is just like a beautiful family reunion of people we actually want to hang out with. And we're going to learn a lot. So thank you, Joe. Take it away.
No, thank you. Let me real quickly, everyone, before I introduce Russ, who's our very special guest, let me make sure there's no one here that I need to like send a private link to Gina to say, kick this person off. What are they doing? We don't like this person. Well, let me see. Yeah, most of them are good. Hold on. Look in here.
Quite a few Genius members and quite a few E.L.F members. This is cool.
Yeah. No, this is great. Yeah, we've got some awesome
people here from down under.
Yeah, so great. All right, so let's jump into it. I'm really looking forward to this. So Russ, the professor, Hanush. Inspired by witnessing a mother struggling to help her child with homework, Russ has dedicated his life to improving education. After a successful research career and inventing the periodic table of dimensions, he started Physics for Fun tutoring, which has since evolved into Acclaim tutoring. His company has helped hundreds of students excel in various fields, from science and engineering to professional sports and entertainment. Acclaim tutoring offers one-on-one tutoring, college and career counseling, and standardized test preparation with a focus on helping students become happier, more confident, and more successful. Russ is the author of Harnessing Your Seven Senses, which explores his unique approach to learning. Part of that unique learning includes, and this is what's pretty wild, Russ having listened to every single I Love Marketing episode. I want to confirm that's absolutely true. And the first 150 episodes twice. Russ is joining us today to share what he's learned listening to over 450 I Love Marketing episodes and how to create an E.L.F business, which is easy, lucrative, and fun. So please welcome the professor, Russ Hanush. So thank you, Russ.
Awesome.
I mean, you know, yeah, I don't even know what to add to that other than you can probably explain this stuff better than me and Dean can because of the different sort of perspective of listening to it and taking it in and applying it to your business. So for one, I just want to thank you. That's rare that someone does that. Secondly, when you hear someone so much, you certainly, I would hope, have a much higher liking of me than Dean as a human being in general, and because I think that would be appropriate. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, take it away, man. Tell us, which of the episodes have been the most impactful, or anything that I didn't say about you that everyone should know before we jump into it.
All right. Well, I'll just start with the episode. So I listened to the first 450 episodes, one at a time, obviously, just taking BJ Fogg's advice of baby steps, tiny habits. So all I did was every morning I'd wake up, I'm making breakfast, I'd play one episode.
Nice.
It took almost 3 years to make it all the way through, including the first 150 twice.
Wow.
And I'm a huge fan of origin stories. So for my favorites, I have to go all the way back to the very beginning. Those first 150 episodes are just incredible. They're so good, Joe. You guys should probably put them together in a book and do something crazy like launch them into space. You did that, didn't you?
Yes, we did. You know what? I wish I had that video right at hand, because we did put these dolls of me and Dean,
our action figures,
yeah, into space. But no, but you're right. Yeah, but now that you're saying it, it makes me realize we need to do this again. It's been more than a decade.
Huh? Yeah.
How did you come? What was your first introduction to I Love Marketing? What made you start down the path in the first place? How did you find it?
Well, I'm going to have to go way back here to 2018.
Okay.
In 2018, I was 55 years old, had my business established, and I was diagnosed with a brain tumor.
Oh, no.
And it took 2 surgeries and almost a year of medical issues before I got that cleared up. And it wiped me out financially. If I had had any debt, I would have had to go bankrupt.
Mm.
So after all that happened, I had to make up time. And so I needed to learn about marketing really fast. So what I did was I got in touch with Magnetic Marketing, Dan Kennedy's group, and made a couple contacts there. And part of Shaw of E-Launchers referred me over to the Genius Network. And I talked with Kevin in your office, and he referred me to the podcast. And so I started listening to random episodes of the podcast. And you guys were around 300 at that time. And I decided, I've got to hear this thing all the way from the beginning. And so I went back and I just started listening to them, taking notes, applying this stuff. Timothy Paulson got a hold of me and told me about E.L.F coaching. And it was just such a perfect match that I had to go for that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Wow.
But, so some of my favorite episodes, though, I got to say my number 1 episode is number 29, the Magic Rapport Building Formula. It's just so important to building your networks, and networks are just what it's all about.
That's the very beginning of, you could argue that's the foundational stuff of what's in it for them. That's really the beginning of formulating because I've observed, I've known Joe for, 7 years now, something like that. So I've seen it all unfold, and I've seen this in action, but that was the first time that he'd really kind of gone through, the process of sort of codifying exactly what he did. And now to see it come into what's in it for them, fantastic.
But see, and then on that note, Russ, I just decided to put up a QR code just in case anyone is now compelled to get a copy of my book, What's in It for Them. Or if you've already bought 17 copies, now is an opportunity to buy your 18th copy. But no, well, you know what? I'm happy you said that, because it also goes back to when me and Dean first were discussing starting I Love Marketing. We said, how could we have conversations that people could listen in on 100 years from now, even though technology will change and things will happen, if they're just listening back to like the origins of where some of this marketing started from. And of course, many people here know that Dean invented the squeeze page back in 1997 to enter your name and email to go to the next page, which has influenced hundreds of millions of opt-in pages now today. And there's a lot of stuff that we've learned, but technology changes, delivery systems changes, ways that people, now there's machine learning and AI and everything that we're right in the middle of right now. However, the psychology of marketing, I believe, will always stay the same. It's just different ways that you connect with people. So in the Magic Rapport Formula, there's a lot of much better, smarter marketers than me that are they're transaction minded versus transformational minded. And my whole thing is always give more than you ask, and then you not only will build rapport with people that way, but I think you'll have a lot more personal friends, not just maybe a better business. So what if you could share, what did you get from that you were able to utilize in a particular way?
What I got from What's It for Them is it was like a manual for how to apply the Magic Rapport Building Formula. And then what I really liked was you put a lot of time and effort into helping people understand how to protect themselves from people who would take advantage of them as well.
Yeah.
Now, I went out after I read the book. I went out and instantly that night, I made a new friend, sat down at a bar right next to somebody. It turned out they were another math tutor. They had just moved into town, made this great connection with them. A lot of people, they meet new competition in town. They may have tried to beat that person down and discourage them. And instead, I came up with a way that we could collaborate together because of the influence of what's in it for them. They invited me down to a jazz concert later that evening. And I went down there, ended up talking with the vocalist from the jazz trio, and she invited me to sit in on a jazz session with them playing bass, even though I'm a blues bass player. So it was just really incredible. And that was just one night right after reading the book.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. You know, and let me mention this too. I mean, I kind of speak to this a little bit. And of course, listening to all the episodes of I Love Marketing, you probably have a sense of how both Dean and I think about a lot of things. And so much of being in addiction recovery for over 20 years now, and now spending half my time in the areas of recovery, so much of what I learned in that world, going to countless 12-step meetings, is being an addict requires you to be very consumed with your own compulsive desires. And marketing and addiction and personal development and all of these things are kind of this blend of humans that just want things, and they find different ways to try to acquire them and get them, some through force, some through manipulation, some through generosity and collaboration and you know, gratitude, right? So there's many ways to get what we want in life. And when you walk into a 12-step room as an addict, and those of you that have ever done this probably know what I'm talking about, and those of you that have not, I'm sure you can interpret what I'm saying here, is you're going into a place where oftentimes you feel hopeless and you're surrounded by complete strangers. And for some reason, that environment creates a sense of less judgment or no judgment from some people. And I use the word judgment in a contextual way, because I think everybody judges all day long. It's just you judge, you know, we wouldn't drive cars red light, green light if we weren't able to judge. It's just how that is applied. And you have people that oftentimes believe in you more than you believe in yourself and can give you that sort of encouragement. And I think that really helped forge my understanding and learning of persuasion in what I would like to think is the most ethical, value creating ways, because I know what it feels like when your life is completely out of control and you are desperately hoping that someone will just not only be present, listen, be helpful, offer an encouragement. And I learned along the way that, you know, isn't that just a really good way to conduct yourself in business too? I mean, isn't that a great way to build rapport? Like, not coming at it for, let me figure out how to take, but to give. And now the flip side of that, you're going to meet takers, and takers have a very good sense of identifying who are givers. And you almost have to develop your spidey senses along the way as you develop your connection abilities and your marketing abilities, because you're going to come across clients that are unreasonable, prospects that are just using you for information, people that have no ability to have empathy, that will completely take advantage. And when you have the skill and you've developed the muscle of aligning yourself with the right people and being able to decide, this person is an E.L.F, this person, you know, easy, lucrative, and fun, this person is hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating, that understanding completely changes the trajectory of how you run your business. And so from listening to all of the episodes, how long did it take you to start? I mean, it seemed with that episode, you went and met someone right away. You immediately did it. Did you also find yourself cutting off any particular type of relationships, or having a different framing of how you approach things with the giver versus taker sort of mentality?
You know, I wouldn't say I really went that direction. I think mainly what I was looking for was the collaboration aspect, the generosity. What really attracted me to your whole world was this generosity and collaboration, this emphasis on that, your emphasis on ethics and providing more upfront so that people they feel appreciated, and that's why they want to do business with you.
Right.
Yeah. So that was really what attracted me to that. I would say I probably have filtered some relationships because of some of the other, because they were people trying to take advantage of me, but not really consciously.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great though. Any Nathaniel Brandon, who was he passed away, a few years ago, and he was just a brilliant doctor. He was a protege of Ayn Rand. He wrote many books on self-esteem, The Art of Living Consciously, Taking Responsibility, The Six Pillars of Self-Esteem. And he had this sentence stem exercise that we would do where he would say, if you were 5% more blank, let's say outgoing, or everyone here listening, you left this I Love Marketing, live meetup, and you said, I'm going to be 5% more, fearless or open to go and meet someone new, not like double it, not do anything drastic, just a tiny little 5% increase in something. What would happen? And and then he would have you fill out these sentence stems. Well, I'd maybe meet new friends. I'd probably close more deals. I'd probably, would become more courageous, whatever it would be. I might meet the love of my life, all these things. And what happens when you just give someone an idea, a domino, as I like to call it, and they do something with it, then that starts the trajectory. I had spent yesterday on the phone for about an hour with BJ Fogg, and BJ Fogg is the professor that wrote Tiny Habits, and he's a Genius Network member, and he's going to be here at the end of next month, and I'm doing a live interview with him at the same time with Chris Voss, the former top international FBI hostage negotiator, and also Robert Cialdini, all at the same time. And the top influence guy in the world, the top behavior professor who, one of his students used his method and created Instagram, and then the top negotiation guy in the world, all at the same time. And the thing, this is great to have smart people, but what I need to pull out of people, and what we try to do in I Love Marketing and with everything we do, Genius Network, is to give people usable things that they can do something with. Because ultimately, it's great to listen, it's great to learn. What we want people to do is have a change in their life. And if they could do that, then the ripple effect that comes from this, it almost seems to me, what skills do you have now as a result of this investment of, I talk about in chapter 2, time, Tammy, time, attention, money, effort, and energy. You have put hours of your time and your attention. I don't know how much money, being in E.L.F coaching and stuff is a different thing, but effort and energy. And then, going out and applying it and coming from, losing nearly everything and having the brain tumor that you talked about, which is incredible. So if you had to say to anyone that's here, how should they interact with knowledge? How should they interact with our podcast? How should they interact with marketing? Because I think you're more than qualified to speak to all those areas, because I think everyone here listening wants to build and grow their business. They want to make more money. They want to have more of an E.L.F business. They want better clients. They don't want to, sucked into things that are, hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. And I think you'd be a great advisor, which is why you're a guest here today.
I think one of the most important things is that you got to apply stuff. So you can sit here and learn everything you want. You can take all the notes. If you don't apply anything, then you're always wondering, well, what would happen if I did this? Mm-hmm. So applying this stuff is, I would say, one of the most important things. Things that I've learned that have really helped me out. Joe, learning about this universe, learning about marketing, learning how to grow my business and being successful at that, it's brought me some incredible peace in my life. I too am an addict. I have a history of addiction. Mm-hmm. And I have some physical abuse that's been in my background, and recovering from those things really was a very difficult process. I used to have dreams where every dream I had, I was always searching for something. And when I started learning and applying this stuff, I could just feel this change come over me in a confidence that, hey, I know what I'm doing now. I can be successful. I can grow this. And that just brought a great peace to my life. My dreams actually changed, and I have dreams that are just more narratives now, and I'm not hunting around searching for anything. It's like I found home.
Oh, wow. No, that's great. No, finding home, I think that's what a great way to share kind of where you're at. I often talk about in my past, I always was in a hurry to get somewhere, and as soon as I got to where I was in a hurry to get to, I was always in a hurry to get somewhere else. Like I always felt like there was a dark cloud following me that was always raining on me, and I was trying to outrun it. And Gary Halbert, who I learned marketing from, he had this line, which I still think is very valuable in many contexts. But it's also could be dangerous too, depending on how your brain, what it does with it. And he said, you'll accomplish more through movement than you will through meditation. And for probably a couple decades of my life, starting in my 20s, I was just completely neurotic. Still am. I mean, I'm definitely neurotic and weird. I was just not ever able to feel a sense of okayness or a sense of peace. And being 55 years old now, and having put myself through the ringer in many different ways, and really being grateful for the skills that I've developed and a lot of the successes I've had, and also realizing that for me, I can only speak for me. So this is sort of like entertainment. I'd say treat everything like a 12-step group. Take what you like and leave the rest. It's, now where I am able to really appreciate all of the work and effort and all of the craziness, because I used to claw myself into every sort of success and opportunity and drive and stuff, but then I would create all these messes and I would get in these traps, and I'd have to claw my way out of the messes that my drive got me into. And so now I step back and I look at, what was I trying to figure out? What was I chasing? What was I pursuing? And the marketing aspect of it, I know a lot of therapists. I mean, 20% of people that are Genius Network members are in the health field, from functional medicine docs to regular docs to naturopaths to psychologists to psychiatrists to different people in the health field. And I've got some pretty smart people that I know as friends, as colleagues, as clients. And I know a lot of batshit crazy people that are in the business of teaching people how to get their life together. And if people knew how insane they were, I don't know if they'd want to be taking advice from some of these people. And this is a sort of a weird thing to say about marketing, because I have a love-hate relationship with many marketers, because there are some of the most incredible, awesome, value-creating people that really understand marketing and use it to get good products and services and value out in the world. And there's others that are just the biggest scumbag, manipulative people on the planet. And they're, they understand marketing. So I make the distinction between capabilities and character. As we build our capabilities, we also want to really look at our character, not just our own perception of ourselves, because it's easy to think you're right, even when you're wrong. Just how other people experience you and the end result of your clients. And I learned more about human behavior by the study of marketing than I ever learned through just reading, books on therapy or books on psychology, because marketing is applied psychology. And I think when you're able to learn the ability to persuade someone in a direction that's good for them and that they want to go in a way that's helping them and making their lives better, that is a really awesome use of the skill of influence and the skill of marketing. So I say, think of selling as influence, think of marketing as storytelling. And you can tell a bullshit story, or you can tell a really inspiring story. You can influence somebody in a really great place that's going to benefit their life, or you can really mess them up. And so it's a sword. It's all how you use it. And so when you come from struggle, the people that I really admire are people that have been through hell and back, and they still haven't, they're not out there hurting people. They're out there saying, wow. And I got a message sent to me. I won't say from where or who. Just say it's someone in another country. And they sent a message because of all the stuff we do with addiction recovery. And they're like, I really need help. And this person described how they have a compulsivity to go into stores and steal. They feel so guilty about it and so bad. And they're praying to have this stop. And this person has, I mean, this is literally just this morning, had this compulsivity to go and steal, and is like asking people to go in the stores with them so that they can protect that. And I'm like, you never know what the hell somebody's going through in their life or where these sort of things come from. And the more you understand that we all have pain and there's all this pain in the world, and you can learn the skill of packaging, the skill of rapport building, the skill of being a pain detective, knowing that all of the progress and the money that most of us are going to make are transforming other people's bad news into good news. And you can really see yourself doing that for yourself and others. I think there's a sense of happiness that comes over it. Because I know a lot of people that they sort of had an ethical bypass operation along the way, but they learned really good marketing skills and they make a shit ton of money, or they do these big launches, or they do these big live streams and they sell tons of stuff, and they're up there just lying for a living, and they go home to their nice houses and their big money, but there's sort of an emptiness to it. And anyway, I'm just riffing here because
I think in a lot of ways, though, Joe, there's a lot of Joe Stunt and I used to talk about that all the time, that there was, you can see, we would call it the difference between sharks and mammals. That there are, there's some people that are just reptilian and are, not, they're only thinking about themselves and conquest and manipulation and doing all those things, winning and getting the outcome that they want. And then there are, you mentioned it too, there's a lot of really great people in marketing that are more mammalian, that are more interested in other people. And you can generally tell those people when you're around them for any length of time. You can tell whether somebody is a mammal or a reptile,
Yeah, no, totally. So anyway, the reason I say all this though is we've done our best along the way to, I always bring up the ethics because I always want people to utilize it, man. If you use once you learn marketing, and if someone listens to the first 10 episodes starting from the very beginning of I Love Marketing, they're probably going to know more about marketing than 99% of every business owner on the planet, just from that. If they read the magic report form, if they read my book, if they read the Breakthrough DNA, the 8 profit activators that we go through, they can utilize a couple of strategies, which I'm going to ask you about, some of the things that you're doing and how you've done, because I want this call here, and I'd love to have you, Russ, be a domino for many people that are listening, either here live or that will listen to this recorded, because we're going to turn this into a podcast episode on I Love Marketing. So welcome. You are the newest I Love Marketing guest on the I Love Marketing podcast. I want people to take the time to start really learning this skill. There's no 5-minute way to teach marketing. I mean, I personally have spent over $2 million on my own marketing education. I don't know what Dean has done, but the hours of it, and I Love Marketing is not the only thing you've consumed with marketing. You've probably consumed a ton of stuff. So I'd love to have you, share what you've done, what's made the biggest difference. And I say all this stuff too, because the number one thing that I think that people have, the biggest obstacle for people benefiting and utilizing marketing, and I'm not saying this is the right thing, it's just my perspective, is people undervalue how important it is. Like, we can teach marketing strategies all day long. You can listen to I Love Marketing episodes on all kinds of particular different areas. People just oftentimes don't get and understand, out of all of the skills you can learn in a business to make it successful, you can waste a lot of time learning a bunch of stuff that will have nothing to do with making you money, clients, that, even having a great mental attitude and a good attitude towards life doesn't make you money if you don't know how to sell what the hell it is you're selling. If you don't know how to connect with clients and prospects, if you don't know how to differentiate yourself between all the other people that are either selling the same thing, something similar, or perceive the same thing. So the skill of marketing is really undervalued. And because of all the scumbags that use it in unethical ways, people often are afraid of it or have a bad perspective of it, in the same way that, like, oh, I want to avoid a salesperson, because most people wake up every day hoping that they never run into a salesperson or a marketer trying to sell them anything. So, so with that being said, let's talk about the 9-word email, because I know you've utilized that. And I'd like to ask you, how how has it influenced your interactions with your clients and colleagues? And that's a process that Dean Jackson came up with, and it's so damn simple. And it is so effective, and people will take courses on copywriting and stuff to try to figure out how to create effective emails, or they can just do this. And oftentimes it works 10 times better.
Yes,
pretty healthy.
I love it. My typical 9-word email is, are you interested in tutoring? It's so simple.
Yeah.
And tutoring is really cyclic. So I can very much predict when people are going to be ramping up and getting ready to look for some help. The first test of a semester, the season for finals at the end of a semester, you've got a couple of those a year. And so when we're coming around to those, I will take all the leads who I haven't closed, and I will send out the 9-word emails. And I get great response. I get 90% response. Now, not all of them are positive. Some are, no, I don't need help, but they're still communicating with me, which is really important. I'm keeping that rapport going. Other ones that they're looking for a tutor, and in general, when they call, I can convert about 80%. But when they're calling on the 9-word emails, I'm down to converting about 40 to 50%. And there was a meetup where I got the chance to talk with you, Dean, and I was mentioning that to you, and you brought up that fishing video where the guy's in the boat with the spotlight, shining it around on the water, and the fish just start jumping into the boat.
Right.
And what you pointed out to me that made the big difference was, you got to stock your pond with the right kind of fish.
That's right.
And so the leads that I've been calling, they just aren't the right kind of fish. Yeah. And so that was very informative and motivational for me.
Yeah, well, the other thing too, I love that line, only the hungriest fish are going to snap at the crappiest bait. So if you could, if you could have, so for instance, Dean, we can no longer call it the 9-word email. It has to be the 5-word email, because his is, are you interested in tutoring? And in order for this to sound like a really sophisticated marketing method, I think we really need to add another 4 words to this, or people are going to be like, I paid all this money to listen to I Love Mark. Oh, wait, no, I forgot this. We're not charging for this. So basically,
here it is. Hi, Joe. Are you still interested in physics tutoring?
Best Dean. There you got the 9 word.
I sign off my name. You can add one more word. Yep.
Yeah, well, so Dean, why don't we do this for everyone that's listening? I mean, I know there's a lot of people here that totally get and utilize 9-word emails. They totally get it, but there's some people that have not. And I will say, you don't need to go super deep in it. If someone wants to really learn this, we've got full-blown episodes at if you go to ilovemarketing.com and just even Google and type in, I love marketing 9-word email, you're going to come up with a bunch of different stuff. What I would like to preface it with saying, though, is I have Genius Network members that have been in Genius Network for 3 or 4 years. They've invested $75,000 to $100,000, and they finally, 3 or 4 years in, finally do a 9-word email. Yeah. And they'll be like, I made all my money back just from
exactly. That's the funny.
Yeah. And I also have people that are like, oh my God, I did your 9-word email. I mean, we have people that have become millionaires just by listening to I Love Marketing and utilizing this stuff. And so could you kind of describe it as a reminder for people that maybe aren't using it as much as they could, or someone that's not done it? What the hell is a 9-word email? And then what I will suggest to people is go and listen to deeper episodes on this, but give them the flyover.
Part of the thing is that it's all taps into the big concepts that you have to understand is that not everybody who opts in is ready to buy right now. And it's okay if they're ready to buy later. That's fine. But what often happens is, as internet marketing, as you know, the whole culture has been sort of introduced to this idea of a gauntlet series, and the first 10 days of like getting an opt-in and then hammering them to buy right now. And when you understand that there's going to be 5 times more people who buy more than 90 days from now than there are people who buy in the first 90 days, right? So that's just as an aside. Now, I look at it and break it down that there's only 2 time frames that I'm even interested in, and that's now and not now. If it's not now, it's okay whether it's tomorrow or a week or a month or a year. It doesn't matter. It's still not now. And I define now as actively looking to do whatever it is that you do in the next 30, 60, 90 days. That's now. Now, the best way to presence that for someone is to 90 days from now or 6 months from now, send an email to someone that says, "Hey, Joe, are you still interested in tutoring?" That's a really a great way to do that. And you don't even have to use the word "still" at that point. We've got people who use that 9-word email every 30 days, every 60 days at our 90-minute book company. Every month, on the beginning of the month, everybody on the list gets an email that says, "Hey, Joe, would you like to get started on your book this month?"
Right.
Every single month that goes out, and every single month it jumpstarts people who say, "Yes, now I would like to get started with my book right now." You can use it for so many different ways. It's just a yes or no question that gets the people who are, we're only speaking to the 5-star prospects in this, right? That's all I'm interested in, is it's just meant to draw out the people who are now. I just had a client call me a couple of weeks ago and said that last year, they did all their stuff. They were doing all their taxes. They figured out last year, 42% of their business came from 9-word emails. When I first started working with them, they had a 10-day process. They had very high conversions. They're selling very expensive things. And they would just generate new leads and push people through the 10-day thing. And then we started sending a 9-word email to the people who didn't buy in the first 10 days, 60 days later. And that every 60 days, getting out that message to people resulted in 42% of their business. And it's a $15 million company. So do you look at the impact of just sending, and you can do it at whatever cadence, or regularly is the best way to think about it, right? That's it's the sequence that you do. My girlfriend Luba every month sends to people, "Hey, Joe, would you like to schedule your eyebrows this month?" Yeah. So anytime, you can do that to your existing unconverted prospects. It's a win. It's such a simple, it's an annuity, really. It's like just free money every single time. I think that if I just look at that, of what the most reliable magic trick that we have, that's certainly one that if you can go into any business, I bet every single person in here right now could send just the simplest 9-word email.
Yeah, totally. And let me see what this last comment was. Let's see. And by the way, Gina made it super easy for everyone. She put links in the chat of all of the different episodes on that we've talked about with 9-word emails. Mark wrote, I just wrote and completed a book thanks to the 90-minute book. Okay, that's awesome. And Brenda wrote, what do you do to nurture those on the list for 90 days, or just send another email each month? Do you send something more? Here's what I would say, because we could go really deep into that, but I want to ask Russ some other questions. Listen to the episodes. We explain all of that pretty darn thoroughly. And if you also download on ilovemarketing.com, if you've read it, read it again. It's a really great reminder. Is the Breakthrough DNA report.
Mhm.
And Gina can put a link for that in the chat, but that'll kind of walk you through the whole process of how to nurture. And it starts with selecting, like, for instance, I'll show you these cards. We're doing an I Love Marketing meetup later here. The first one we've done in several years with me at the office tonight. But we got these cards, where it's like select.
We can't see them; they're blocked by
I'm sorry. Let me
background. Yeah,
let me get rid of this background thing here. Okay.
there you go.
Yeah. All right. So it's like these.
But how is anybody going to know you've got a book, Joe?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm just trying to be subtle. I'm trying to be subtle about this, Steve. You know what's funny? This is like not even my office. This is those of you who've never been to the Genius Network headquarters. I've got a lot of books, like thousands. I can't really move this computer too much, but here's one side of all the books. Here's another side of all the books. I've got over 2,200 books. See all the mess that I'm now showing everybody, but a lot of stuff. But that's only one room in an 11,000 square foot building that is filled with thousands of books. But you don't need to read those anymore. AI has been invented. No one needs to read anything.
Hey, there we go. Hey-o.
All you need to do is go to chat GPT and just ask questions. And you know what's so funny about it? I've been having a lot of conversations. When you have to, one of the things that I feel bad for is because you truly can do. Me and Eunice and Mike and Nakara on my team, we have been paying one of the smartest people on the planet, his whole team that has expertise in AI in different areas, to show us all the different things that can be done with AI. And it is mind-boggling fascinating. Every Genius Network meeting, we've been having sessions on AI. We have a 100K meeting next week, and we're going to have two of the top copywriters in the world doing web critiques of people that are in the room while simultaneously redoing their website in real time with AI.
I love it.
And just to show people what you can do with it. And I'll tell you though, when you shortcut the learning, you don't understand it. And so it goes back to like when you read a book that someone wrote, not an AI generated book, even though you can generate all kinds of great stuff with AI. Like when I wrote that book, What's in It for Them, I spent 2 years, not 2 years straight. Luckily I took a 1 year sabbatical in between writing that book. And if I wrote that book with AI, it would be like, it would have been, I think, a great book. You can do amazing things with editing with AI. I mean, talk about wiping out a whole industry of people that like edit. I mean, you can do incredible stuff. What happens though, and one of the dangers is if you lose the meaning and you lose the lessons that come from practice, from deliberate practice, from sitting down and thinking it through. I got so much out of writing that damn book because of how much time I spent just thinking about what in my life worked. What did I do that worked? What didn't work? And that sort of exercise is really valuable, which is why when you live, eat, and breathe the thing that you do, you can go hire marketing consultants, you can listen to strategies, even here. There's just a depth of understanding you have in your own world that I don't think you get any other way. But with the 8 profit activators, which are all described, we've got these cool cards with them and stuff. That'll take you through nurturing and stuff. So let me switch gears. So talking about books, what insights, Russ, did you gain from the top 3 books that referenced on, I Love Marketing, that you found most valuable to your business? And because you're a big, obviously, consumer of learning and education. I mean, you put in the time, you put in the effort, and I think it's valuable to hear, for everyone to hear kind of what have you read? What have you gotten the most value out of?
Well, I couldn't whittle it down to 3 books, Joe. The best I could do is get it down to 6 for you.
Okay, good.
So the number one book where you need to start is Dan Sullivan's 4 C's.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Commitment, courage, capability, confidence. It's a great book. It teaches you persistence. I love Dan's little story about the hand grenade and his definition of courage. Courage is not whether or not you wet your pants, but what you do with wet pants.
Right.
That's very
Right.
powerful.
Totally.
Yeah,
I
very
love that. I
powerful.
love that analogy. Yeah.
Yeah. The second book would be What's in It for Them, because that's how I'm building my network. You got to start there. People are one of the most important things. Without people, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to have clients. You're not going to have a team. You're not going to have support. You're not going to have mentors. People are very important. So what's in it for them? Building your network right up there at the top.
Thank you.
Then getting more practical, I would recommend Choose by Ryan Levesque. That was one of the earlier episodes, I believe. And that is just, it's an incredible, he's got some incredible tools and some incredible advice in there in doing marketing research and developing an evergreen product. So I highly recommend that for beginning entrepreneurs. Next would be The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And that helps you, that teaches you how to put a business together that will be scalable. And that was one of my big issues is one-on-one tutoring is as a service is not scalable. And so I've had to, because I've read these books, I've been reorganizing my entire approach to doing business and working on producing evergreen products instead of one-on-one service. Another one, Who Not How.
Yep.
Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. That's for team building. One of the biggest things I got was from Who Not How, and that's the freedom to hire a team. I'd always put it off. Oh, it's so difficult. Oh, I got to deal with taxes. I found this incredible payroll service. They do it all for me. It's pay as you go. My workers' comp for 10 employees is like $25 a month. It's some incredible resources. And then finally, because you got to have strategies and tactics for your marketing, Piranha Marketing.
Thank you.
It is just incredible. And the tools in there, I'm listening to that right now for like the 5th time. And I've collected every single tool in there yet. So it's an incredible production.
Did you do that in reverse order? Didn't you mean to say that marketing?
Going from the top, the number one, yes.
You know what's interesting about that is me and Tim Paulson did that program in 2004. We recorded that, and you can buy the audio version on Audible. And this is before social media. This is before so many things. No one was doing Zoom. And we had a tool called a teleseminar script developer, which many people have used for all the like webinars and for different things today. And yeah, there was the cool thing was that became the #1 selling marketing program of all time for Nightingale Conant. And my favorite audio program that I've ever listened to is Lead the Field by Earl Nightingale. And over the last 3 Genius Network meetings, thanks to Joe Weldon, one of our Genius Network members, Diana Nightingale, Earl Nightingale's wife, has come to the meetings. And so we're now going to be taking never released Earl Nightingale content that no one's ever heard, and we're going to putting it out into the world. And so I've become really dear friends with Diana. She's 83 years old, and just we have some interviews with her that we're going to be putting out, and just the backstory of all of the original sources of all of this stuff. So thank you, Russ. That's really great. Can you share some of the success stories from applying the tips and strategies that you learned from the E.L.F marketing podcasts with maybe your students, or anyone that's an entrepreneur here, or even with your career counseling clients, stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a big fan of Stephen Covey. I like to begin with the end in mind. So I tend to, when I'm coaching with my students, I tend to work backwards from their passion. I ask, what is it you like the best? And once we've narrowed that down and kind of figured out what their awesome sauce is, then I help try and take them through a track of, do you go to a university? Do you go down the entrepreneurial track? Do you go down the vocational track? Mm-hmm. And I picked all this up just from the E.L.F podcast and listening to your interviews with Dan Sullivan. It's just his what was it? It's when he breaks down. He's got his stuff you don't like, stuff that's okay, I'm willing to do it, and then the stuff that you really want to focus on. And so
the unique ability.
Thank you. Unique ability. There you go. And so that concept kind of led me to this process. And then from all the lists, all the podcasts I've listened to, the other resources I've come up, I provide tons of resources, books, podcasts, coaching. I do some coaching myself. I also have lists of coaches for people who aren't appropriate for my coaching. And when I apply that, my students are just, I get some of the happiest, most confident students from applying these concepts with them. Mm-hmm. As a science and math tutor, I have a lot of STEM students, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM. Yeah. And one of the women in STEM that I tutored went on to get her master's in neuropsychology. She helped invent a probe where they can put fiber optics into mouse and monkey brains, and the monkeys and mice can run around, do their thing, and they can monitor dopamine levels in the brain while the experiments are going on. It's just some incredible stuff. Another one of my students, her mother actually works in a lab at Stanford and uses Savannah's material.
Wow. You know what? You'll need to get me some information on that, because Dr. Anna Lemke, who's a doctor of addiction medicine at Stanford, she wrote an incredible book called Dopamine Nation, and I'm helping her. Yeah, I'm helping her with the Dopamine Nation workbook right now. She'll actually be here on Sunday, and then she'll be at our annual event in December, at the Genius Network annual event. But we're doing a whole just deep dive into dopamine and stuff. So when you said that, I was like, that's fascinating. So yeah. I'd like to learn more on that. Yeah.
It's an incredible tool. Yeah. And then I've had a lot of other students who went on to do things that weren't STEM as well. I've got 2 students who went on to become professional baseball pitchers. Spencer Howard started with the Phillies in the year of COVID, 2020. I've got Mari Stewart, who is an international professional women's basketball player. She's played in Croatia, Latvia, Australia. She's in England now, going to King's University. Big star Josh Oliver, who just got traded to the Minnesota Vikings, tight end. And Max Styler, who was one of my greatest entrepreneurial students. This kid, his teacher for her chemistry final allowed them to make a 3x5 card, and they could put as much information as they could fit on that. And I convinced Max that the way to get good at this stuff is to make the card, and if it's not perfect, make the card again, and you just put the other one aside. He did that like 10, 15 times. Then he went to school, and the kids sold all those extra cards to his classmates so that they had cards for their test too. Wonderful, wonderful entrepreneurial spirit. He was also a musician. He likes to do dance music. He was discovered by Steve Aoki and now spins in Coachella, Toronto, Madrid, Rio, Vegas. He lives next door to Steve Aoki in Vegas. This kid just skyrocketed. And then right now I also have one current student who was running a babysitting business. And she wanted to show me her books and ask me a little bit about that. And I'm looking at her books, and her name's Ever. And I'm going, Ever, you are doing exactly what I'm doing, only you're doing it by hand. Let me show you how to make that happen. And so she's my most current student right now. I've got really, really high hopes for her.
Love it. Love it. That's awesome. Well, that's great. Thank you, Lloyd. Let me see what else I could ask you for the time we have too. And what I'm going to do also, we'll go for a few more minutes, and then will officially end. And what we're going to do this, we've not done this in a while. We're going to, for anyone that's interested in what we're doing with E.L.F coaching, we'll give you an opportunity if you want to hear about that. We will do a bit of a commercial on it, but I never sneak up sales pitches on anybody. And I only want I only want to do business with people that want to do business with us. And so that sort of thing. But we will talk about that if anyone wants to. Jason Campbell is on, Dave, Streen is on, Gina, Tim. We've got, we're going to do a I Love Marketing meetup tonight. So I know there's a few of you here that are listening in live that are going to be at the office tonight. So we'll see you in person here. So let me ask you a couple of other things. So I wrote down this, you have the imitate before you improvise. So how have you applied the imitate before you improvise advice to your teaching methods or in other aspects of the business?
Yeah, so I like the way Picasso said that best. So learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist.
Yeah.
And I've applied that just in my own mathematics. And to me, math is like a language. And as I've gotten better and better at it and been able to think in terms of it, I can see this benefit of, okay, once you know the rules, then you know exactly what you can do to break them. And I've just shown my students just all kinds of shortcuts because of that. Yeah. And in teaching, there is this concept called I do, we do, you do. And that's been developed because it's so important when somebody's learning something. One of the steps that really gets skipped a lot is allowing somebody to see how it is done. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times the teachers are up there, they'll be demonstrating something on a whiteboard and the students are copying it as if that's the way it should be done on their paper. But what's really happening is the teacher is up on the whiteboard demonstrating something. She's using tools on the whiteboard to help the students understand and see what she is teaching and communicating better. That's not necessarily the way something needs to be done when you're doing it yourself. So the I do step is really important there to show students how something needs to be done. And then I do it with them so I can help guide them through. They have a crutch that they can lean on as I work them through the problem. And then I let them loose. I turn them loose and I let them do it themselves. So we start out with trying to have them imitate me, and then finally working to the point where they can do it themselves and grow to that point where they can improvise.
I love it. You know what's really great about that too? I always think the skill of good teaching, being a good teacher, being a good coach, is when you're able to transfer the knowledge to your clients, to your students, to the person that is hiring you, your company, and they're able to go and do something with it and generate a result, because ultimately that's what people want. I mean, everyone here wants a result, and in order to get results, you need capabilities. And so how can you transfer the capabilities to people in a way where they can do something? And you're doing a great job with that. So this quote I wrote down, which is one of your favorites. How has the quote "You become what you think about most" by Earl Nightingale influenced your mindset and actions in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I love that quote. I've got a whiteboard here in my office, and I've got that written up on the whiteboard, and I look at it every day. And the main thing it gives me focus. It reminds me to focus on my dream. And when I'm focused on that dream, then I'm working on the right things. Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich, some of the characteristics that he pointed out that people really need are persistence, focus, clarity of purpose. And that quote just makes me think about that constantly. And it keeps me focused on what I need to do.
Yep. And if you think about being a cheesecake all day long, perhaps that could be a bad thing. So, well, I guess
you may not become a cheesecake. Yes, I've had that argument before, but
no. Well, look, there's a lot to be said about whatever you hold in your space of your mind has a lot to do with look, everyone here, whatever you're going to think about today is going to totally play out what happens the rest of the day, tomorrow, this week, etc. So in what ways has your involvement in all of this, in E.L.F coaching, in I Love Marketing, in the meetups, contributed to your business growth and personal development that you've not shared that you think would be helpful for people here to to hear and take away from, because I really wanted this to be you as a catalyst to be inspiring and encouraging for everyone here to take what we've talked about and just go get some more impact and results in their business and in their lives.
Yeah. Well, I really owe you, Dean, and Timothy Paulson all just a huge thank you. In my first year in E.L.F, I doubled my revenue. That was easy. Didn't even take effort. And that was who, not how, was the main contributor to that. And in the last year, I've cut my hours back by 33%. And instead of focusing on revenue, I'm focusing on developing more free time for myself and getting the business to be more automated, more E.L.F. In E.L.F, I gave the first 10-minute talk. And giving these 10-minute talks has really helped me feel much more comfortable doing public speaking. It actually helped me give the eulogy at my dad's funeral, and it turned into a great eulogy, very, very light and fun. Got a lot of recognition for that. I also gave the second 10-minute talk in E.L.F coaching because I was so enamored with the public speaking and enjoyed doing it so much. And then I've also developed a great genius network of friends and mentors, including you, Dean, Brian Kurtz, Timothy Paulson. You guys have all just been incredible mentors to me, and I thank you all.
No, thank you. And look, I mean, I really honor the fact that you've given so much of your time and attention, your Tammy, to what the work we do in it. And it feels really good. I like when people benefit from what we put out into the world. I mean, this is something that me and Dean, when we first came up with I Love Marketing, I first registered, which I've done nothing with it, even though this was in 2009. I had got the domain name I Hate Marketing.com. And I was like, because there's so many people that hate marketing because they don't know how to use it and they think marketing sucks. And I was like, oh, these marketers. And I'm like, yeah, and some of that's well-deserved because there are some, asshole marketers out there, a lot of them. And, I also thought like, well, I learned marketing selling carpet and upholstery cleaning, and I never thought I would teach it to anybody. And I had to figure out how to successfully sell something nobody wants to buy, because no one wakes up every day and says, I really hope the cat pisses in the corner so I can call a carpet cleaner. So it's like, it's one of these things where if you have to figure out how to sell something nobody wants to buy, it really gets you to understand psychology. And when I was able to apply education-based marketing and consumer guides and all of this stuff. And again, there was no internet. It was all direct mail. It was advertising. It was, just using pretty much the written word and even using videos back then. We were sending VHS tapes to people and stuff, and I saw how just changing words and making offers and utilizing Socratic selling, which is really what the 9-word email is applied to email. It's Socratic selling. You could apply it to social media. You could apply it to, it's asking a question, right? And when I saw that changing the words doubled, tripled my income, and I didn't learn anything more about how to clean carpets better. It wasn't the skill of knowing how to do the thing. I also learned the painful reality that there's no relationship between being good at what you do and getting paid. There's only a relationship with being good, being a good marketer, and then getting people to buy it from you. And so when we first started doing I Love Marketing, I said to Dean, I go, let's do something crazy. Let's not we're not going to do sponsorships. And to this day, we've never done sponsorships. Looking back, it was probably a stupid idea because we probably left God knows how much money on the table. But we said, let's not even sell anything until people start complaining. Why are you guys not selling anything? You're doing a podcast on marketing and you're not asking us to buy anything. And, we'll name drop books and stuff like that, but we never pitched anything and mention it until we finally have people say, will you guys please try to sell us something? And if you go back and look at the original, reviews that I don't even know if they're still there anymore, Dean, the ones on iTunes.
I think they are on iTunes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Back in the day before Apple changed everything. people are like, I don't get it. You guys are giving away more stuff for free than like other people are charging for. And part of our thing was like, how do we just make it so? And we built a really great brand, and we had like massive downloads, and we've had millions of downloads of our podcasts and stuff, but we never made it a main thing. We never, like, it was always something we kind of did along with our other businesses. And we talked a lot of people into starting podcasts, including Tim Ferriss. We remember him arguing that a podcast was a really bad idea when we were suggesting to him early on, you should do a podcast.
I wish we had that,
Yeah. No, we do have it somewhere. We've just never been able to find the unedited but one day I will, I hope. But the thing is like, if you love marketing, you'll hate marketing if you don't learn how to get results from it. And the moment you apply a technique or a methodology and it makes you money, and you realize, oh my God, I could double, triple, quadruple my income without having to work harder, and in many cases work less, then the I love marketing switch flips on, and you're like, I love marketing. And then you go deeper into it. And so what I want to do going forward is I'm really rethinking in the current, day and age, with all the stuff that we're learning with AI and all the things we're doing, how can we, what are we going to do moving forward with I Love Marketing? Because it's such, I've not put a lot of time and attention on it, nor has Dean, because I went on a sabbatical, and we still put out great stuff, but I'm going to really think through how to be more strategic with our podcasts and different things we're doing. And we want to test a lot of this with E.L.F coaching and with our Genius Network members. And so what I'm going to do, we're going to take a break for a few minutes. And what I'd like to do is do any wrap up here with you, Russ, and with you, Dean. And then if any of you need to take off, by all means, go for it. Because what I'll do is we'll take a little bit of a break, and we'll talk about E.L.F coaching, which is a paid for investment that we have, where Jason Campbell and Dave and my team run it. Tim Paulson, since you're here, Tim went and decided to retire. But Tim ran, how long did you run E.L.F coaching?
About 5 years.
You think I would know this, considering we worked together for over 2 decades. But what we'll do, though, before we get into that, and I'm always saying this now just to give, like, I don't ever want anyone to associate with, oh, they're just trying to sell us stuff. I don't want anyone to ever give us a penny that ever costs them anything. I mean, you have to show up and do work. We work our butts off to deliver value, but we've maintained a stellar reputation in the marketing world because we never sell stuff to people that does not work. And we only want people that are able to do it, that will put in the time, attention, money, effort, and energy. And if you're not able to, that's why we do I Love Marketing podcast. There's plenty of stuff here that if someone's not in a financial situation, that you can utilize what we have here, because we want to be a value creation business, not a value extraction business, or a money extraction business. So Russ, what did I not ask you? What did we not ask you that we should have? If there's anything else you'd like to share, because you've been awesome today.
Honestly, I think we covered pretty much everything I prepared to cover here. We didn't cover a few of my favorite episodes of I Love Marketing. Without getting into too much detail, though, I would like to suggest people go and listen to number 31, the 8 Profit Activators.
Yep.
And number 24, More Cheese and Less Whiskers, which is the theme for Dean's podcast as well.
Great. Yep. Awesome. Dean, anything you want to say? What are your thoughts on Russ?
I'm just so impressed that we've got, I have so many people. I haven't heard anybody that's gone all 450, and that's impressive on its own. But there's been a number of people up to 200 or even 300 that were in the 300 club, we were calling it, that had listened to all. But I would encourage people, this is evergreen content. It's evergreen. They're principle-based things that are just as relevant today as they were, in 2010 or 11 when we started. And I would encourage you, if you want to go through this, to pick an episode, listen actively with your pen, write out some of the notes, the action items that you get from this, and then apply something, and then come back and listen to another one. But if you go through it, if you do, you don't even have to go the first 150 episodes. Certainly, if you listen to the first 10 episodes and apply any of the things that we talk in there, you're going to be such on a great foundation there, and you'll be hooked and want to come back for the rest of them. So yeah. I say, 450 down, let's go 1450 on our way.
Yeah, no, you know what, Russ, I'll probably ask you at a future date to be on again and stuff too, because there's so many things we could ask you to speak to. And is there anything about your business you'd like to share with anyone about how they could follow you or do anything with you?
Yeah, well, my 90-minute book that I did with Dean's team, Harnessing Your Seven Senses, is available on Amazon and Kindle.
Right.
So they find that. My consumer guide is also available on Amazon. So I actually published that as a book.
Awesome.
And if anybody was interested in getting in touch with me for either entrepreneurial coaching or tutoring for their kids, you can Google me at claimtutoring.com.
Awesome. No, thank you. Feel free to put that in the chat if you want. Like when people just start pitching their stuff without asking if that's okay or whatever, that's annoying to me. But when like we say, yeah, go ahead and do it, then that's good. So thank you. So Jason, we should almost have Tim like preface what we're saying. We should give everyone an opportunity to fill out an application that is indeed interested in E.L.F coaching so that we can evaluate if it would be a right fit for them or not. We don't use an application as a marketing gimmick. We actually utilize an application to determine what your goals are, if this is something that would be helpful to you, and if it makes sense. And if it does, then great. And if it doesn't, then no worries. I'm not going to do a dog and pony show. I never do that stuff. I know how to do that stuff. I just don't do it. So Jason or Dave, you guys want to speak to that? And then what I'm thinking is we should have Gina put a link and then we take like about a 10-minute break. And then people that want to hear more about it after they fill out an application, they'll get a sense of what this is. And we'll just spend a few minutes telling people about it.
Well, yeah, if you'd like to get information on the E.L.F coaching, which really is an implementation of everything that we're talking here. We use the Genius tools and we apply everything. We roll up our sleeves and we do it. And so much of it is based on applying the book, what's in it for them. And the application, really the application, Joe, that you put together, it's not just an application, it's also a series of questions that whether you're applying for it or not, they're good questions to ask yourself just about where you're at in your business, where you want to go in your business. So.
And then, by the way, while Jason is frozen stiff, I made a mistake here. I didn't even explain who the hell Jason Campbell is to people. So, Jason has been in Genius Network, I believe now for 6 years. He runs Zen Wellness and Zen. You froze up, Jason. I don't know if you heard, if you're hearing me, but I said now that you're frozen stiff, I'll just explain who you actually are because I'm sorry about that. I should have told people who you are. He's a very successful entrepreneur and business owner. One of the top sellers in meditation music online. He has a martial arts studio. He's a black belt. He takes everyone through the breathing exercises that we do at Genius Network. He's been in for many years. And we own a ghost town together. So he's like I'm the mayor and he's the sheriff of Cleator, Arizona. And we're involved in a lot of projects. This is an awesome dude. And so he can speak to, how to build and grow a business. And so he, along with Dave and Gina, are running E.L.F coaching. And Dave is also a business owner and entrepreneur here in Phoenix. He's ran the I Love Marketing meetups for, how many years, Dave, have you been running those?
It's about 11.
11, yeah. So thank you for all that service there. And of course, Gina's been with me for 2 decades. And so we have a whole team here. And then Tim, it would be stupid for me not to give you an opportunity to talk about this before we ask anyone that's interested if they would like to fill out an application, because you ran it for 5 years. So holler at us.
So I didn't come on for any other reason other than to hear the professor which says a lot because, I retired on 2/22/22. And when I heard the professor was going to be on, it's like, man, I want to be there because I can learn from the professor. And by the way, I gave him that moniker, at least the most recent iteration of it, right, Russ? But I called him the professor because, and so this kind of answers your question, Joe. He shows up and he's so smart. He's so smart. He's in this E.L.F coaching program. He's so smart, but he's so teachable. And he's wanting to contribute. He's wanting to collaborate with others. And it's like, I've been around a lot of professors in my educational career, and I love the professor who feels like I'm a peer. It's like, I'm not smarter than you, even though he is. It's like, I want to give. What can I give? How can I? That's why he was the first one to give a 10-minute talk in E.L.F, the first one to give a second 10-minute talk in E.L.F, like he said. But the thing is with the E.L.F coaching program, we got together when I was there. They're probably doing about the same now. Dave and Jason can speak to it. But 2 or 3 times a month via Zoom, we got together. And I could hardly wait to get on those sessions with June. I'm just looking around at June and Carol Ann and Dave Streen, and I'm looking at others here on the screen. There, Sandra over there in the Netherlands. I mean, we get together and we were like a family, but we were all taking our businesses to the next level. And so there was not anybody, the professor wasn't strutting around saying, hey, I created the periodic table of dimensions and I'm really smart. He would say, I've created the periodic table of dimensions. What should I do with it? How can I market this? And we would talk about Sally Hogshead comment, Joe, at a Genius Network meeting a few years ago. She said, it's better to be different than it is to be better. And the professor takes that and it resonates. And he says, okay, how can I be different? Now, the thing is with the professor, he's better and he's different. Anyway, but my point is, getting together with like-minded individuals. Nina's on here too. She was from New Zealand and these people from around the world and throughout the United States, getting together to collaborate with each other and to contribute. They're all looking to contribute. How can I help? And really, it is a program, has been a program that helps people prepare for Genius Network. Because as Jason mentioned a couple minutes ago, in E.L.F, they use Genius Network tools, thinking tools, the same tools, some of the same tools that are used in the $25,000 a year program. E.L.F is just a fraction of the cost. We use those and then we get into groups and we collaborate. So anyway, I just, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. That's what Da Vinci said. And Joe Polish is brilliant at simplifying things. And so these Genius Network tools, the things we talk about in the E.L.F coaching program, they're simple, but they're profound. And when the professor says he's doubled his business in the first year of being in E.L.F, it's like, oh my gosh. And now he's working 33% less time, because of the things that he applies from E.L.F. It's like, you know what? Let's have more people get involved with E.L.F. so that we can expand the circle of collaboration, of contribution, of connection with like-minded people. So those of you who have the opportunity to apply for E.L.F, you get to hang out with people like the professor, like Jason Campbell, who's brilliant, who Dave Streen is incredible. Dave is one of the most giving persons I've ever met in coaching programs. Joe, I said too much, but that's my perspective.
No, thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. So, well, here's what I would say at this point. Well, so we have an application. There's going to be a link. Here's the printed one. I'll actually, we do have an online version. So there's a handful of questions of where are you right now? Okay. Where do you want to go? And let's find out if E.L.F would be a path to get you there. And so some of it you just have to check off, and others, are going to be questions. And then at the end, we'll have space for you to answer the question, what needs to happen. It's a R factor question from Dan Sullivan. If we were to meet a year from today, what needs to happen in the next 12 months for you to feel happy with your progress, both personally and professionally? So Gina if you could put a link in the chat, and then those of you go ahead and click on it, fill it out, and then let's take about 10 minutes, and we will come back, and then we'll answer any final questions and go from there. And what we'll do for anyone that fills out an application, we're going to have to review them to make sure that it would be a right fit sort of thing for you, but we can then let you know about next steps. And that's it. And if you want to bail, you can bail. But if you want to fill this out and you want help and assistance, go ahead and fill out the application. And is there anything else I didn't say, Gina, that I need to before we take 10 minutes to give everyone an opportunity to fill this out?
That's perfect. I'll put up a timer, and then when we come back in 10 minutes, we'll talk a little bit more about E.L.F, what you think of the application, and do some Q&A.
Awesome. Yes. And so just remember, today is the last day of the way that you used to be. So look forward to talking to you guys in 10 minutes from now. And I'll be back. Thank you. Thank you, Russ.
Sure thing, Joe. Thanks.
Okay, here we are, everyone. Was that enough time for those of you to fill it out?
No, not for me.
It was enough for you?
Yeah, me too.
Okay, good. All right. So when I want to actually kind of go through a little bit of the application here. So the reason that we ask, if you're using any systems or if you have any goals or plans, is some people do, some people don't. Some people are goal setters, other people are problem solvers. But what we want are people that have a business and the ability to apply time, attention, money, effort, and energy to it. We are not selling a magic bullet. This is about the closest that we know of on how we could be helpful and supportive of people in the marketing arena, but it is going to require you to participate and to show up for meetings. It is a 1-year group. And the way that we charge for it is $450 a month, or you can pay in full for $4,500 for it. And we're going to accept 20 people into the program. And that's what we're going to do. And so that's the bottom line. So does anyone have any questions that I could answer instead of me going in and saying, here's what's so great about E.L.F coaching? We already know it works and it'll be beneficial and it'll be helpful for you, but only to the degree that you are a right fit for it and it's a right fit for you. Our job is to deliver great content and an environment and facilitate and orchestrate really good discussions and meetings that aren't just dialogue, but I'm sorry, not just monologue, but dialogue, where you're actually meeting each other and being put in groups and things like that. So, any questions for any of us? Me, Jason, Gina, Dave?
Hi, Joe.
Yeah, go ahead. Is this
So yes, it's
Christopher? Sorry, I was trying to find out who was talking.
Hi. So Jason was talking about help with implementation. That would certainly be my biggest challenge. So I'd just like to hear more about that. But anyway, sign me up for the year. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. What I'll do here's, and also too, because we are on Zoom, and it would be really, so Gina, put a link to where people can sign up. And what we'll do, will that charge them or just capture the stuff? Because I'd like to review everyone's application before they're officially in. And that's obviously something that Jason and Dave and you and the team will do. But what do you have where we can at least identify who would like to be in, and then we can capture everyone's application and review it?
Yeah, so I put a link in the chat where you can actually sign up now. We will get these reviewed before it's too late to void it if for some reason we don't think it's a great fit. But so that you can be sure to get in on that first 20 that we're doing today, then if you are ready to do that, you can sign up there. Yeah.
Cool. And
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify, that's 20 new members. That's in addition to the existing members. It's not like it's a new program or anything.
Correct.
Right. It's a good question in the chat. When do we have the meetings?
Yeah, Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Arizona. Oh, excuse me. First and third Wednesday. There we go. On 10 a.m. Arizona time. So whatever time zone that you are in. And we can also add more times as more people come in. I'm happy to add more times, but right now it's the first and third Wednesday, and they are recorded as well. And then we do also a little bonus. If those of you that are into, we do a health portion of it as well. Wednesdays, I teach a 45-minute breath mastery class, and that's just a little bonus if you'd like to attend that as well. That's just powerful for clearing your head and energizing your body, but completely optional, but a little bonus if you want to do that. So first and third Wednesday, 10 a.m.
Yeah. And part of this too is we're going to be, this is the first time I have done an I Love Marketing meetup tonight in several years. And so we're going to see how this goes. And we will decide if we want to do in-person meetings, at any point in time too. So we're going to explore that as a different option. And Dean Jackson, you want to say anything to this?
I think this is great what you're doing here. I mean, having the focus for a year to implement right through the whole plan. I'm assuming you're going to go through all of the, when you start out where you are, the problems that people are going to have, they're either going to need to generate leads, they're going to need to convert leads, they're going to need to make better offers, they're going to need to be able to get referrals, all of those things. So feeling out where they are and then having a way to, over the course of a year, it's amazing what you can implement in a year of dedicated focus like that, working all from the same playbook.
Yep. And by the way, this is not where you just show up and you learn and we teach you stuff. We actually want the members to be doing 10-minute talks. We want people to be teaching, doing field reports, and sharing what you're doing and how you're doing it. That's what makes the group better and valuable. And so in a lot of ways, if someone's utilizing a great new tech, or be it AI, and you're doing something with it that we are not doing, or you're using it in an enhanced way, or you're sharing how any of the strategies are working for you, we want you to participate, not just show up and listen. The group is as good as the members and how they're participating. That's why we really, want to, put the right people in it, and we will put you in groups. So you're not going to just be hearing a talking head. I mean, you can get great talking head videos or listen to I Love Marketing podcast, and you have to pay for that. So if you're going to make an investment, we want you to not just invest money, but we want you to invest your time and your energy, and there will be work, because oftentimes unlearning is harder than learning. And a lot of things you will determine that, wow, I was attempting to do my business this way. And I smuggle in, and we smuggle into all of our stuff. It's not just about marketing, it's about being a better entrepreneur. So in order to have an E.L.F business, there is a setup. And oftentimes it ain't super easy right in the beginning. It is a setup. Sometimes you have to work your ass off in order to develop an E.L.F business. But the not doing it will be far more costly, far more painful, and far more annoying, because part of E.L.F is actually having fun, and a lot of people make money but they don't have any fun. So we want this to and easy has to be taken in a certain context. Easy is an interesting word. Everyone would like things to be easy, but there's those of you that exercise and work out, it is not easy to exert yourself. It is not easy to it's not easy to eat a really clean diet. Believe me, I would love to eat pizza and ice cream and fast food all day long, but the consequences of that do not make my life easy. They make it hard. So there will be things that we will want you to look at and to implement and identify. And the other thing that's psychologically difficult is you'll have to drop half relationships, ones that are hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. Because Dan Sullivan has a great line where he says, getting results doesn't take time. It's the not getting results that take up all your time. And so part of E.L.F is identifying the result producing activities that you could do, so you're not wasting a bunch of time on things that are not making you money and not building your business. And I have a friend named Pete Worrell who wrote a book called Enterprise Value. And I had him at the last 100K meeting, because we have a group that people pay 100 grand a year for. And what he'll sell over 2 billion with a B, $2 billion worth of businesses this year. So he helps people sell their businesses. And his whole thing is, does this increase enterprise value? And the other side is, who's the who? So who, not how is an example. That term came from Dean Jackson. And then at the 100K meeting, Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan met each other in Genius Network. And that's where they ended up putting together their books, which are now 3 of them, Who, Not How, The Gap and the Gain, and the latest one, which is 10 times is easier than 2 times. So we will share with you the very best method, techniques and things like that. But we're also, the hardest part's going to be finding a who. And I don't mean finding the who is the hardest part, is to quit doing the shit that you could have someone else do for you. And that's one of my biggest struggles too. I think that's one of any sort of entrepreneur that is sort of a visionary, you just know all of these things you could do, but just because you could do them does not mean you should. And it doesn't mean it's going to increase enterprise value. So we will often give you questions before we give you answers, because we can't say this is what success is for everybody. Success is individual to each and every one of you in a different way. So we are not someone that is going to try to lord what our opinion of a value system that works totally for me, and it should be the same thing for you, because it's not. Some people they're a successful business is working 30 hours a week and having great health and an awesome family. Other people, it's some, crazy ambitious goal where you want to, reach, however many millions of people. So, there's trade-offs for everything. However, we want you to come into it from the lens of E.L.F. So Jason and Dave, what else do we need to share with everyone?
Well, Robert asked what happens after the 1 year is over. Well, you can also think of the E.L.F. as a training for Genius Network, and to build up your business where you can qualify for Genius Network, because you need to be doing at least $1 million a year. So in getting to that, we take you through a lot of the Genius tools to build up. I mean, and you may or may not be in Genius after a year. Who knows? I mean, you can do. Russ has been in E.L.F. for years. So just to answer that question about what happens over a year, but you can almost think of it as a training ground for Genius to be in the Genius Network. I've been in Genius Network for over 6 years now, and all these things I apply and I've done, and I still go through a lot of the tools here, and I still implement and put them in my business and in my life as I build it. So that's really what it is. I mean, Joe, what you spoke into, it's not a podcast, or I think, what did you call it? Like a paid podcast? Some of the
it's not. Yeah, it's not like a lot of people are running mastermind groups that are not mastermind groups. They're just another way of calling it a seminar where someone's talking at you, but you don't get in groups. You don't dialogue. You monologue. It's all listen to the guru. And like, this is not a guru thing. This is like business owners that want to build and grow their business, entrepreneurs that want to connect with other entrepreneurs. And it's built around, that's the whole thing. And so let me answer this other question too from Nina. Is there a call with someone on the team as part of the application process? Yes. Once we have an application, either if it's an individual thing where we need to talk to you personally, we will do that. If it is a group, we may start doing orientation calls with groups, because we're actually finding that some people have enough like-minded goals and objectives that it's like we can do this together. But we have a really great onboarding process, and we'll take you through that. And so and the other one, when do you have the meetings? You can put that in the chat also. It's the first and third Wednesday of the month. And what else was the one that I was looking at here? Oh, what happens after the 1 year is over? Again, to speak to that, Genius Network is a business. Genius Recovery is a 501c3. Part of my business endeavors is so I can actually bring in revenue so that I can help change the global conversation about how people view and treat addicts with compassion instead of judgment, and find the best forms of treatment that have efficacy and share it with the world. So that's a bit of my passion project. And in order for me to do that stuff, that requires money, that requires a business, that requires structure. So all of you have something in your life that is it's like your cleater. We have a website called What's Your Cleater, which is the name of our ghost town. And what is your big, crazy, ambitious thing that you would like to do? Now, we have some of you that are going to be here at the office. We have a Dan Sullivan line on a gaping void image that says, if you have enough money to solve the problem, you don't have a problem. And the best problems in life are the ones where you can cut a check and the problem goes away. So we want you all to make money so you can solve problems that not having money creates, or that you can solve. So yes, this is a business. And if we continue to give value to you, well, keep paying for it. And we hope you do. And if at any point in time you're not, and it's really, is it you, or is it us, or is it the situation? I mean, we care very much about every one of our clients. I mean, I don't want anyone giving us money that has not, this is not a cost. We want it to be an investment that brings a return, and hopefully we'll help you build $1 million plus business. And if we do, then you'll join Genius Network. And yeah, so this is a setup. And so I'm not a dummy. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I'm not a dummy either. I mean, one of the best ways to get future clients in long-term business is just treat people really well, and give them stuff. And I don't know if everyone has the same attitude that I have, but I think service and hospitality and everything in the last 3 years has gone to complete shit in so many parts of the world. And so we really hope you love our team. We really hope you see how much we care and appreciate about you. If if you're a awesome giving person, you will like it. If you're a taker, you will not like it. People that are like, let me come in and figure out how to poach the audience, or let me come in and just figure out how to sell my stuff, not the right group for you. I mean, if you're a contributor and you're a giver, show up and give as much as you can. And that's the beauty of Genius Network. Those of you that are in Genius Network know it's hard to explain it. No one understands it till they experience it. But when someone comes to a Genius Network meeting, like we hear it all the time, it's like, wow, I've never been in another group with more people that are givers. It's like, well, we try to curate what I want in all of my clients. People can buy my book, that's fine. I never have to meet some of the people that buy my book. When we meet the clients, is I want the greatest group of non-narcissistic givers that we can assemble together and curate it to be that, because those are the people that I like spending my time with. And if we can help them, we're doing good in the world. So this is that's
Can
how
I say too, entrepreneurialism can be pretty lonely. We're a pretty tight community, kind of a family that, just like Timothy pointed out, there's a dozen E.L.Fs on here now that they show up for each other, they help each other. And like the quote that you say a lot, you can't read the label from inside the jar. You get a lot of different eyes looking at your problems and helping, give you ideas and different perspectives and stuff. So it's a lot of different things. One of my favorite lines is, give them what they want and smuggle in what they need. Helps a lot of that. So going back to what Jason said, to be in Genius Network, you need to make $1 million a year, but there's a lot of people that make $1 million a year that don't get to sit in that room. They're not prepared for it. E.L.F gets you ready in a lot of ways. Like the professor talked about, his speaking ability went way up. There's just a lot of different things that come from the group, and maybe some of the E.L.F members want to chime in and speak to that a little.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to, let's wrap up in a few minutes here, because we have another event that's going on tonight. But I wanted to. This is the first time we've actually done sort of an invitation like this, tied into an I Love Marketing meetup. So, does anyone have any questions or anything you want to share that's an E.L.F member or anything else?
Nicole, do you want to share any of your experience, or Sandra, your experience in E.L.F?
Sure, I'll go. Hi. So I've been in E.L.F for 3 years, I think in June. It's been amazing. What I love about it is that it's all of us collaborating from different industries. So every single person has a completely different business. And what I've always loved is learning from other people who are not in the same business as me and seeing what they're doing in their business that I could actually maybe apply. Like, how does that apply to me? And so that's what I really appreciate, being around just a collaborative group of people that we're all in different industries, which is amazing. And we're all at different levels of our business. And we're all there to support each other and to help each other. And it's just a really amazing group of people.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah. And really what I also want to develop, E.L.F to be is most of the members, 90% of people that come into Genius Network is referral. As you probably noticed, we don't do a lot of heavy marketing for it. We literally just do a really good job of having a great group, and most of it comes from referrals. We do marketing, of course, because we're a marketing organization, but I am not blessed. I don't have a massive, advertising budget for coaching, because it's a bit of a slow growth sort of thing. It takes time to develop rapport. And one of the things that I have is great job security, because we have a lot of clients that love us because we do our best to take care of them. And so We have a lot of very long-term members. I mean, even in my team, you know, Gina's been here for 20 years. Eunice has been my assistant for 28 years. There's crazy people in the world that somehow want to hang around me for that long. I have no idea why, but and I will pop in on some of the meetings too. Jason and Dave and Gina and my team and Kevin will be running it, but I'm actually going to get more involved in it because I have a lot of cool things that I think I want to share with everyone that's part of our groups. And yeah, that's it. And if you do a really killer job, we will not only have you as a podcast guest, but we'll create videos and we'll put it up online. And oftentimes people will get good promotions for their business out of that. So it's not a place to come and sell your stuff. It's a place to learn how to sell your stuff, how to discover how to package and position yourself, and how to build E.L.F. So I put the link in there, Gina, one more time, and then we will follow up with everyone within 48 hours after you fill that out, and we'll go from there. Sound good?
For those of you coming in person, we'll see you in a bit.
Yeah. Any final last words from anyone? Anything, any burning thing anyone will feel regret if they don't mention or ask before we go?
Sandra, did you want to say something on E.L.F. and your experience?
I would like. What I love about it is that it's a very international group of people. I'm from the Netherlands. I met people from Scotland, from New Zealand, from the States. And it's wonderful to meet with each other, to just click the button and see each other around the world. Encourage each other. That's also something that happens a lot. And we do collaborate outside of the E.L.F. meetings as well. We record podcasts together, do all kinds of stuff. That's very, very wonderful. Yeah.
Awesome. And thank you, Sandra. So
You're welcome. Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, what's up, Kaylee? How are you? Kaylee is an awesome trainer where I work out.
Hey, Joe.
Thank you. So what do you think of this? This is your first time you ever actually, I think, participate on one of these, right?
Yeah, it was my first time. I didn't know what to expect going into it, but nothing but greatness from you.
Thank you.
It's nice to hear everyone's journey so far with the E.L.F. and Genius Network, and hopefully it's something that I can be a bigger part of someday.
Absolutely. No, I would love that. I would love that. Thank you. Awesome. And I will see you soon because we work out at the same gym. Awesome, guys. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And my team, Jason, Dave, everyone, thank you. And we'll see a few of you later tonight. And anything else, Gina? We good?
This was so fun. Thank you all for being here. And Russ, if you see this later, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Dave and Jason, you guys are the E.L.F. experts, and I'm so glad you were both here. Yeah. And Joe, thanks for letting us run this one. I'm really glad we did this.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. We even got Ron Preston, who's a freaking member from many, many years ago, which is so great. So hello, Ron. So great to have you here. So thank you, Gina, and everyone have a great night. And we look forward to this journey together. Take care.
Bye. Great seeing everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thanks.